Hey, so I just had to make a comment on this. I was searching around online, just happened to be stumbling around on some other information, came across some cost segregation stuff. Wanted to chat with you about it for a second. My name is John Murphy. I represent a firm called CSSI, and we do cost segregation studies all over the country. One of the things I just want to comment on, these are my personal opinions on this as I look at it, and having been in the business for a while and done some other things, one of the things that's interesting in sales, it's easy to overinflate things, right? So you make big promises and then maybe you can't deliver on it. The other thing is maybe just make big promises and deliver on it, and whether or not that's really honest accounting or not, who knows? Buyer beware. You are the one that is paying for the cost segregation study. It's going to cost you some money, and you're going to hope that it holds up in an audit. One of the things you want to look for is a reputable firm that's been doing this for many, many years, and certainly the one that I represent has been. It's one of the largest companies in the country that does this and has been around for about the longest period of time, 22 years in the business. But anyway, if you're buying a commercial building, say for 2, 3, 4 million, $5 million or whatever, $10 million, and you think you're going to be able to accelerate 30 or 40% of that property, it's a little unusual to be able to see those kinds of numbers. I'm just telling you. That would be the outlier to hit those kinds of numbers. That's just not something that we typically see. Unless there are lots of large land improvements, big, huge driving areas for trucks, then you might see that. Sometimes there's also specialty retail that we might see, maybe some storage buildings, and of course, oil service. But your average, commercial building is not going to do that. So anybody that's saying you might get 40%, that is a huge stretch, in my opinion. So one of the things, just be aware of that. And then the other thing is let's talk about land value for a second. Land value often, well, first of all, IRS is supposed to be fair market value, and you're supposed to have a proper allocation between the land and the building. I can't tell you what that allocation should be. That's something you and your CPA are going to have to figure out. We certainly can do some research, try to figure out some land values out there, and then you ultimately choose what that is. But if you're looking at examples that people are giving you where either they don't account for the land, or they say, hey, you'll be able to depreciate 30, 40, 50% of your overall purchase, that's just not the case. You got to back out land value. That could easily be 15, 20, 25%. Some parts of the country, New York, California, Chicago, might be 40, 50, 60%, could be 70%. So keep that in mind. So if you see somebody's giving you an example and they have 5% for the land or less than 5% for the land, that is also incredibly unusual to see something like that. So just beware. If you'd like to have a conversation about cost segregation, I work all over the country. My name is John Murphy, CSSI. I help building owners save money on their income taxes by doing cost segregation on their buildings. You can find me on LinkedIn or check out my blog at costsegbuilding.com or costsegcalc.com. Bye-bye.